With just 2 races to go here at the 2022 Canadian Superbike Championship, BMW's Ben Young has one hand on the Canada Cup trophy. But Suzuki's Alex Dumas is never one to back down from a fight. Who will emerge victorious in our penultimate battle here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park? And welcome to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for round 4 of the Canadian Superbike Championships. Ben Young has the opportunity to clinch the 2022 Canada Cup, while his main rival, Alex Dumas, will be looking to push the fight into the last race. As Importation Thibault presents the Canadian Superbike Championships. Brought to you in part by BS Battery, Joe Rocket, and AIM Insurance.
One warm-up lap here at CTMP, and pretty much, Frank, ideal conditions. They had one race yesterday. This is the first of 2 races yesterday, so some pressure not to make too many mistakes and have too many adventures in the first of our 2 races. As we look at the grid, you can see Ben Young and Alex once again literally inches apart, and we have seen that over and over again lately. Almost nothing to choose between the Suzuki and the BMW in terms of pace, and Tremblay is on a backup bike that he thinks is a little bit faster at this track, and qualifying would seem to suggest he is right.
And Tremblay mentioned to me immediately after qualifying, as a matter of fact, Colin, that this was only his first podium of the weekend, so he has intentions.
Strong turnout of 1000cc 4-cylinder motorcycles here in many different configurations, particularly the Aprilia. Let's hear from Hannah in the pit lane.
Thanks, guys. Van Dolder's BMW, Ben Young, is in pole position for race 2 here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. If he finishes on the podium in this race, he'll be having a good chance of winning the Pro Superbike Championship for the 2022 season. As you know, anything can happen during these races, so the pressure is still on Ben to finish consistently. Back to you.
Trevor Daly closest to us. There is Sebastian Tremblay in the middle. The lights are coming down. The lights are all on now. We wait for them to extinguish. They've gone off, and it looked like Daly got a really good launch.
Daly on the inside 4 abreast. This is the only track where we start 4 wide, but no, it didn't quite work out, and I think that might be Trevor actually on the outside now, so maybe a little busy in the first couple 100 meters.
So Braveheart has gone right up to the front where he wants to be. Ben Young with the points lead coming into this weekend, and of course there's only one more race left after this one, so the pressure is definitely on Dumas.
And I think that's Sam Garin, who must have started late, so he has an awful lot of work cut out from. However, the Fast Hard Charger Award could be his, because that's the kind of thing that's often recognized in this situation.
Well, the Fast Riding School coming forward last year, as a matter of fact, and putting $1,500, $500 per race to our riders, and we much appreciate that. Martin Hamel, the man behind the Fast Riding School. Now, the riders are now onto the back straightaway as they make their way now onto the Mario Andretti straightaway. It's full out and wide open at this point in time, Colin.
And I think that's Ben Young leading. But what I was going to say, Frank, is that's Thomas Kazazu was second, and Dumas trying to work his way past, and it's not happening easily.
Oh, Tommy obviously has recovered from his problems. We've missed him all year long, and it's so good to see him running up towards the point and making his return to CSBK racing. Very, very popular is Tommy Kazas.
And let's talk about nice return, Steven Nickerson on the DeWilt Honda.
Yes.
He is a solid 4th right on top of TV Tommy Kazaz's Yamaha. So there's 2 guys who haven't really done many of the races this year, showing lots of pace early, and this is very encouraging for Dumas, who of course needs some entertainment at the front to try and hold Ben Young back and help Dumas pick up some points. And look at Dumas pushing Young hard.
Well, Dumas knows exactly what he has to do if he wants to keep... Oh, down goes Nickerson, I believe it is. Stephen Nickerson has gone down in Quebec corner number 3, and he's not getting up real quick.
Yeah, that was a big one. He tucked
man.
the front end, and it was funny. We were talking about Nickerson. You know, Frank, you joke about the announcer's curse. I think we were all pretty excited to see if this could be a podium for him because he showed lots of pace at Grand Bend at our opener, even though he was riding pretty badly hurt. So that's a real disappointment and a shame that he had the incident on the Honda.
Let's make a simple statement on that, Colin. I believe that Stephen Nickerson is more deserving than the luck he's getting.
Yeah, so let's have a look at this group, and that incident with Nickerson has opened up the pack.
Yes.
So Daly actually lost a little bit of time, as did Tremblay, and look at that, Skaysbrook on the Aprilia from way back on the grid. He had a very good race on yesterday.
Oh, we've gone red. We have gone red now, so we're going to stop this race as obviously as a result of Stevie Nickerson's upset.
Yeah, so here's the leaders of the group here are slow into turn one, and my guess is they'll have to stop because, of course, they'll want to get to Nickerson as we go on board looking backwards from Dumas' spike, and there you can see maybe a little tight and a little deep on the brakes. Of course, you're trailing the brakes, you're trying to lean, get the most out of that Dunlop slick front tire, and yeah, very lucky Kazaz didn't hit him. And of course, Kazaz has been in some adventures lately. He and Tremblay a year ago at Calabogie had a pretty big one. So there you can see the riders stopping in turn one. There are top stars in the series, and they're going to be waiting to come in, and we'll be right back with more on TSN.
Closed captioning for today's event is presented by Liqui-Moly, Goderich Toyota, Revs for Rhett, CSBK's official charity, and the Supersonic Road Race School. We're back at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, ready for the restart, but first let's check in with our Dunlop pit reporter, Hannah Streak.
Thanks, guys. After red flag accident in lap 2, we're back for 14-lap restart with the original grids. Because Ben Young led the first lap prior to the restart, he picks up a crucial 2 points. This means all he has to do is finish on the podium in this race to win the championship. Back to you.
The field is away and running, and guess who's up front? It is the defending champion, Alex Dumas, and guess who's with him? It's Braveheart. They're tied by side again.
Heading down the hill, double apex turn 2, and Dumas is in the driver's seat. Finally, he has needed this the last couple of races. It hasn't been working out. So the key, Frank, is can he slow the pace? Can he back the field up? At our opening here yesterday, Saturday, it didn't work out. The top two split, and that was good to see, and their pace was remarkable, but that's not helping Dumas. He needs some other people to participate in the battle, and our race yesterday was a real anomaly because they got away so fast.
Well, you'll remember he had Daly scoring points from as well, but unfortunately Daly had a mishap, and that put paid to those efforts. But and that of course will affect the Constructors' Championship, Colin.
And here we have Kazaz in third. He's not close. He should be okay in the draft, but already after not even a lap, I think that's Daly in fourth, but they're pulling away, and this is not what Dumas needs. So the question is, will we see Dumas being a little bit careful, maybe the way he tried to be at Shubenacadie?
Tommy Kazas has lost none of his skill. He has come right back up to speed. Look at him now after sitting out the vast majority of this season, virtually contesting for the race win here in race 2 on this weekend.
And remember, it was really a fluke in the preseason that he was helping out at the Supersonic Race School and had a small crash, like nothing serious, but just the way you fall and that scaphoid, that little bone in your wrist is so vulnerable, and unfortunately, Kazaz has spent the whole summer recuperating.
And he did it properly too, Colin. He did it with proper therapy and what have you, and he paid attention to what his doctors told him, and he is healed up to the point now. He's not 100%, but boy, don't tell him that though. He's running third in this National Championship Superbike race and doing a splendid job.
And Kazaz is from Peterborough, so this is very much his home race, and he had a couple of good runs here last year before those incidents at Calabogie as we head through Moss Corner, and Kazaz was really wide there, so that's going to hurt him on the drive up the hill. We'll see what the next shot looks like. Yeah. He probably actually got scrubbed off. That may be catastrophic, and of course Thomas not being part of this battle is catastrophic for Dumas as well.
On board with Dumas right now, and we're looking back at Braveheart, Ben Young in chase as they go in through turn number 8 and make their way into 9. Now Tommy Tarses, I think, has made up a little bit of distance on that run up the back straight.
Now, as Hannah mentioned, if Young makes the podium, even if Dumas wins and gets enhance his bonus for laps led, because there'll be 2 bonuses, one from the first very short race and one from this one. This what's playing out right now, Ben Young sits behind Dumas. That's more than enough for him to clinch the Canada Cup.
Well, look at the time difference between them. 0.132, I think I'm reading right there, as Ben Young is very much a part of Alex Dumas right now. And indeed, Tommy Casas is definitely getting back into the conversation here.
And that's encouraging. And it's interesting, Frank, you know, this year, the way the series has played out, Jordan Zoke missed the whole year for Kawasaki from a motocross injury preseason. So basically, any gap between the 2 leaders right now, even a 1/10 of a second, seems like a lot, because they're just always performing at such a similar level. Different teams, different motorcycles, but just remarkably small differences that are making up what's might turn out to be Young's championship.
That last shot showed me Samuel Garan, who's running back in 6th spot right now, but he has closed up on Tremblay on the number 24 Turcotte Performance Kawasaki, the shaker, running back in 5th spot just now.
I think everybody's looking for Garan to have a strong performance. He's starred here before, and we'll see more when we return on TSN.
We're back at Canadian Tire right now, and we're working lap 6 of 14 after our restart. We watched the riders peel down into turn 1, and there is a bit of a battle going on between Tremblay and Daly, now being threatened by Sebastian Tremblay.
Yeah, right now, just in front of them is Casas. He has the last podium spot on that Yamaha returning to the series. Both of these guys, Daly on the Suzuki, Tremblay on the top Kawasaki, they anticipate podiums, right? That is their goal. That is their talent level. So they're both looking ahead and thinking, what's it going to take? And worth noting, Daly aggressive on his entry. I know you reacted to that, and that's where yesterday he had a gigantic tumble.
No kidding, and Tremblay is all over him. I talked about Grant closing up on Tremblay. Now let's talk about Tremblay closing up on Daly.
Well, let's talk about Garan, who we have high hopes for here, and we know he's a fantastic follower. He's good at making moves, but what's remarkable is Skaysbrook is showing steadily improved pace with almost no time on this track whatsoever aboard that Aprilia. Yeah, so our Cycle News editor and Isle of Man competitor and Pikes Peak winner definitely showing some pedigree here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Yes, I'll be looking forward to the next issue of Cycle News and see what he has to say about his adventures here in the Great White North, as we watch Casas still holding on to 3rd spot. Garan, I was going to comment on Garan. He seems to have turned his season around. I think a lot of that has to do with his chassis specialist he has working with him now, none other than former dirt track champion Steve Beattie.
Yeah, Steve Beattie is a well-known chassis guy, good friends with John Cornwell, who might arguably be the chassis guy, busy working in the States most of the time these days with the team that's battling for the series lead for Yamaha down there. But yeah, an interesting situation, great variety of motorcycles, the Casas R1, then Daly on the GSXR, Tremblay on the ZX-10R Ninja, then Garan on BMW, Skaysbrook on an Aprilia, and from an organizer's point of view, this is the story you like to tell, where there's no consistent bike that you have to choose to run up front.
No kidding. The riders now coming out of turn 3 and making their way down towards turn number 4. And I don't know what you caught it, Colin, but the last time we shot the shot showing them going through turn 1, Garan was going way, way wide. Yeah,
I don't think that's necessarily a problem. If you remember his breakthrough ride here 2 years ago in ever-changing conditions, he was following the lead of Claudio Corti, who rode here one season and was trying a lot of different things. And look at that big power move on the outside.
Oh, man, was it ever. That's a bit of GSXR horsepower there as Daly moves into 3rd spot, and that may help Dumas a bit, but here comes Casas back again. He's not going to accept that.
Yeah, full marks for TV Tommy coming right back, but look at this, on board with that Suzuki, coming up the back straight, pulling out to the left, the passing lane, if you will, and got a good draft off the back of the R1. Not a lot to choose, but it looks like Daly's bike might just be gearing, and look at the wheelie off that little lip as they head up to the top of turn 8. Of course, there used to be a giant jump up at turn 8, but they shaved the top off the hill. So really good battle, and really very little to choose, and I would imagine Tremblay's going to be joining in because he's under super pressure now from Garan, who's completely caught up.
Yes, oh man, we have a real race on our hands right now. This is a 4-way battle now between Daly, Casas, Tremblay, and Garan. And Dumas and Young, of course, are doing their thing up front. They're just going on to the back straightaway as we look down to Moss's now, and the foursome working their way through Mossum. This should be really good run up the back straightaway now. There's a lot of towing available here, Colin.
Oh yeah, at the very back of this group is Garan on the BMW, and you got to hope he has the gearing to take advantage of all of this going on.
Look at this, Tremblay, and a huge battle battle now as Tremblay has displaced Casas by one position as they come up under the Canadian Tire Bridge into turn number 8, and we'll be right back. Don't go away. Welcome back to CTMP as Importation Thibault presents CSBK on TSN. Brought to you in part by BS Battery, Joe Rocket, and AIM Insurance. We are back at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and Colin, during our break, there was some stuff that happened.
Yeah, really good battle here with Daly and Tremblay looking for that last podium spot. Unfortunately, Kazaz shuffled to the back, but I have a hunch, Frank, what you're talking about is this,
yes,
which is a new leader atop our race board here. Ben Young moves to the front, our potential champion. Now let's go on board on the back straight with Ben Young, working the draft, pulling out to the left, which seems to be our standard passing position today, not every day, but this one. And there you go on board with the Suzuki, and we see Ben Young making a small move, not a ton of difference in the performance. Like, remarkable how little there is to pick between these two bikes as well as these two riders.
I didn't expect that, Colin. I fully anticipated that Braveheart would sit back in second spot and follow Dumas to the flag and perhaps take his championship. This has caught me by surprise, and as we note, those two riders going into turn number 9. Take note also that Garand now has moved up into 4th place. So the progress that we spoke about that he's been making this year is starting to show some fruit.
Oh no, Garand definitely has some pace here today, and we have seen him fast here at Motorsport before. He had dominated as an amateur a few years ago. Look at this, here's the move, Garand on Daly, so that puts him in a podium spot. There you go.
Wow, what a beautiful move by Garand onto the front straightaway, corner number 10. We quite often see passes in this corner, and most often they are dramatic.
And that was great, that moment on board with Daly Suzuki. He is piling on the pressure, and here we have another Suzuki piling on the pressure.
That one is the champion, of course, and he has to win. There is nothing else for Alex to do with the point situation the way it is. He has to win and hope that the cards will fall in his direction. He is right on Braveheart going into Moss's corner now. He is riding as though they are one. They come out of turn 5B now, and they'll be making it up the straightaway. Now we get another BMW versus Suzuki horsepower shootout.
And I think the drone did a terrific job of showing Dumas working on his timing to be in just the right spot to get the drive and to try the slipstream. We probably never, oh no!
Down into my, who's that? Garand, oh no! Oh man, what a way for this to end. Samuel Garand, after all we've spoken of, did we give him the curse? Skaysbrook's now moving up in the 6th spot.
Pass for the lead, Frank.
Unbelievable, and up front again it is Dumas. They're back and forth. Holy cow, we're watching the riders up front. We're watching the riders battling it out for the final podium spot, and this has got us skipping all over this racetrack.
So let's go on board here with Dumas, and we know he wasn't happy with the similar pass and the other reverse trend, if you will, yesterday, and we know he was practicing this move this morning. I'm a little surprised that he's shown it to so soon. Now look at what Young does. He squares it up and tries to duck under. Now let's go on board with Tremblay, and look at this. This is what caught me. I saw him lose his balance, and I thought for a second, look at how he's sliding it. It looks like he's at an ice race, and then eventually he just can't keep it up on the tire. But fortunately, because he fought it for so long, it wasn't that bad a crash, and he's back up and going again.
He almost pulled a Marc Marquez out of that one, man. He had every part of his body on the racetrack, including the motorcycle.
Well, one thing you can say about Samuel Garand, he's an entertaining guy to watch.
No question. No question. A really, really promising rider, too. He's had some burps or hiccups, if you will, in his career, but we're going to hear a lot more of him in the near future.
So is Ben Young going to make the big move? He has a lap to go. If he finishes here, he clinches the championship. How determined is he going to be? Is it worth the effort? And how hard will Dumas defend? Because there's a lot of pride on the line, and Dumas does not like being beaten here.
No way, no way. Dumas is going to be like an NHL goaltender when it comes playoff time. He is going to be blocking every effort that Braveheart might throw at him. And right now, it doesn't look like he's going to have the distance to throw anything at Alex.
Well, my issue always in turn 3 on the last lap is getting the timing right to catch up, right, to work the draft. So when you get to 5B, the second part of Moss Corner, are you exactly lined up to be on the throttle on time and to be as close as you can to take advantage of the slipstream? And what I'm talking about is right about here where our camera is that just pivoted, 360 camera. And I think you're right, Frank. I think Young is slightly too far back.
Yeah. Well, and again, common sense will surely come to the surface here as he will realize that all he's got to do is just follow that number 1 Suzuki home, and he will have the number 1 to put on the front of his BMW. Having said that, he may try something here. No, he's going to stay right in the wheel tracks and very close indeed. Let's not forget corner number 10. This thing ain't over yet. Up into 10 they come. Alex guards the line. Perfectly done, and he will take the race win. And Ben Young will take the championship.
Dumas on the inside going in, on the inside coming out. No meat on the bone for Ben Young, so Dumas makes sure he takes the win. He gets the battle, but very much Ben Young just won the war with 1 race remaining.
And there is the Van Dolders home team celebrating on pit wall. Alex the Great celebrating his race win. And of course, Braveheart celebrating his 2nd Canadian Superbike Championship. And playing to the crowd, both of them. Look at how slow they're going, waving to all of the crowd. This is how you become a popular superbike rider in Canada. Play to the crowd.
Yeah, and of course, Ben Young had a really good weekend here in another similar situation when he clinched the title in 2019, and then due to COVID was not able to defend. So this is a great moment, and Ben Young is no doubt thinking about putting the number 1 on that BMW.
Yeah, I don't doubt they will just as quickly as possible.
There we see Garin, sorry to interrupt, Frank got up to finish 11th, so we got some points out of that. Very frustrating for him. I've got to talk about Skaysbrook on that Aprilia. 6th is a wonderful effort for a guy who's never been here before in his third day of riding this track.
And Tommy Kazis comes home 4th.
Alrighty, folks, it's official. The t-shirt is on. Ben Young is the Pro Superbike Champion of the 2022 season. Alrighty, it's official. You are the Pro Superbike Champion of the 2022 CSBK Championship. How does it feel?
Oh, it feels good. You know, we obviously wanted that win today, but Alex obviously did everything that he could to try and keep it going, to prolong it, and to do a 20 on the last lap. There was definitely no lack of effort. So obviously the Dunlop tire hung in well. The crew worked awesome. The bike's been unreal. The Van Dolders home team BMW, like you said, has worked phenomenal all year. Scott Build, Barry Trim and Mold. Huge thanks to Parts Canada for kitting me out with all this amazing gear. Yeah, the bike worked phenomenal. My whole crew, mom, dad, girlfriend, and Steve Weir, Scott Cartier, Willie Vass, Hendel Exhaust, just everybody. It's just been a phenomenal year, and also a big thanks to DP Brakes there, Larry, as well. Thank you, guys.
And Ben Young has wrapped up his 2nd championship. There's our finishing order, Colin.
Very interesting between Tremblay and Daly for 3rd. There is not much to pick, and they have been strong all season long. Tremblay coming on with that revamped motorcycle. Garin still a good 5th, given he had to recover into 11th. And here we have the constructors' points, and BMW haven't taken it, but they are in a strong position. Great battle for the 2nd straight year between BMW and Suzuki.
Good to see representation there with Kawasaki as well. Good to see Ducati represented 5th in the standings. And speaking of Ducatis, there is the Hard Charger Award being given to the Ducati rider, Ryan Taylor. And here now is the number 1 plate indicating the 2022 Superbike Championship here in Canada. There is the Canada Cup. He will hoist that up and listen to the crowd respond as Braveheart celebrates his 2022 Canadian Superbike Championship. On behalf of all of us at CSBK, see you next time.